Hey, good afternoon, my friends. So, as all of you that have been following my page know, I have been on a rant for like a week about the mindset of I can't because and how that really traps us in a prison. And a lot of times the I can't because is of our own creation. But Marcie's story is a little bit different. Marcie actually suffered from a lot of chronic illnesses and was basically told by her physician, you can't get healthy because this is just how it's always going to be for you. And I wish I had your before and after picture. Do you have your before and after picture on your Facebook page?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Because I actually don't know if I can go onto that and share my screen while we're going live. But if man, I wish I had your before and after picture. Anyway, I digress. Let's go ahead and share your story. So tell me about what life was like for you before you started this health journey.
I was pretty miserable. It was hopeless. I didn't ever dream about anything because I didn't believe that those dreams would ever come true. So why try to dream about life? Um, my journey just started a little bit over 2 years ago. And prior to that point, I have a wonderful marriage. Been married since 2012, and we have three beautiful children. And now we have a whole lot of fur kids. But after my third child was born, my son, I've been gestational diabetic with all three. That last one, however, oh my goodness, like I fell on ice with him when I was 8 months pregnant. I
Ouch.
ruptured a bunch of ligaments. I tore a bunch of muscles and stuff like that. I had also, to add to that, I already had a previous existing injury with a car accident in 2010, and I had herniated 7 discs along my spine from neck down.
Ouch.
Um, so with all those injuries combined, I was literally told that I would probably wind up in a wheelchair, that I shouldn't be picking up my babies because I'm just going to injure myself further. On top of that, my gestational stopped being gestational and it transitioned over to diabetes type 2.
Oh my gosh.
I was finally starting to get diagnosed with fatty liver. Um, I was super obese.
Hey
um,
guys, here. I found it on my
you
Facebook
found
page.
it.
That's her
Yep.
before picture, y'all. That's
It's
her
crazy.
before picture. And this is her now.
It's,
Dang
and
girl,
it's,
look at you.
it still
That is
boggles my
the
mind that that was actually like who I am today is who I am today. And like, you know,
I know, like, that's you.
it's pretty cool. It's
Yeah,
pretty
just so you
cool.
guys have an idea, that was her before picture. That's the state that she's talking about, right? Pretty
Yeah.
obese, a lot of pain, being
I
told
was
she
fake
can't.
smiling in that before photo, girl. My mom had actually took that photo. Our cousin had actually visited for the first time in my adult life. And so I was super excited to see him. At the same time, I was really struggling that day. And I also had mental disorders. I had chronic anxiety and chronic depression, and I suffered with complex PTSD from past abuse situations. So when that picture was taken outside my house in Wisconsin in 2017, I was standing, fake smiling because I was in so much crushing pain from the weights, not just physically, but mentally.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I was 150 pounds
Wow.
overweight in that picture.
Wow. And I remember you saying that your doctor was like, Marcie, this is just the way it's going to be for you. Just like,
Yep.
suck
My
it up, take
endocrinologist,
the
in
pill.
fact, yeah, the day I was diagnosed, I was sitting in her office crying because surely this can't be real. Surely not me. My dad passed away from diabetes and heart disease in 2011 on Father's Day. I grew up as a teenager watching him get to the point where he died. So I was in my 20s when he died.
Wow.
I'm in my 30s. I just turned 38 this week. And I look at to comparison to how my dad's life went. He died when he was 61. But I remember when he was in his late 30s, early 40s, he had massive heart attacks. He had out of control diabetes. Like the medicine wasn't helping. So when I went to see my endocrinologist that year, and she's sitting there telling me, She's teaching me how to give a shot. Marcie, you know that this, I was like, well, first of all, is there any way that this can be fixed? I'm always trying to problem solve. It's my temperament. Is there any way I can fix this? She says, no, you're a diabetic. There is no fixing this. This is just how life is going to be. You're going to have to learn how to take your medicine. You can do whatever you want, eat whatever you want. But you're always going to be this way. You're just going to don't worry about trying to change because there is no reversal for this.
Wow.
That day I lost hope.
You were told you can't because this is your state, the end, by an endocrinologist.
She's never seen anyone reverse or put in remission. She's never seen it. She doesn't know what she doesn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, I would love to go back to her today and say,
I was gonna say, you have reversed it now, right? It's like in total remission. You don't take any shots.
My blood sugars are balanced. My blood sugars don't spike anymore. So I'm totally thrilled with that. And yeah, I do still monitor them. But because periodically it's good to know.
Yeah. So I'm curious, tell me about going from that state where you're basically told you can't because this is the way it is, to like taking that step, like, well, what if I did? What if I tried? What did that look like for you?
That what if scenario popped up every single day. I'm like, oh man, what if my life were better than it is today? That's actually what led me to almost committing suicide the day before I decided to start my journey. That's part of anxiety and depression. You go along a lot of suicidal thinking in that journey. And with that, that what if scenario, I kept asking myself, what if it doesn't get any better? What if there's no hope? What if this never has a change possibility? That was the what if questions I was asking myself. When my coach came along, she flipped the script. She was like, Marcie, but what if the opposite were true? What if a year from now you could be down to 100 pounds? What if you didn't have to take your insulin anymore? What if you didn't have migraines anymore? So I was suffering, that's another thing I'm suffering with. What if you didn't have a bunch of pain anymore? And when I'm hearing her ask those questions, I'm like, I first of all laughed at her because I know it's just too good to be true, right?
You're like, my doctor already said that's not possible. Who the heck do you think you are?
I know, right? And so I'm like, okay, so do you actually believe what you just said? And she's like, of course I do. Because I know, I've seen it. And I'm processing this information. I'm like, it won't work for me. It won't work for me because I'm the exception to the rule.
I'm too special. I'm too far down. I have too many issues. I can't because, right?
Yeah. And
so how did she talk you into putting yourself first? How did she talk you out of that state and like talk you into giving it a shot? How did that happen?
She didn't talk me into anything. Actually, I talked myself into it. I told her no for a good 6 months. Because I was so set on, I can do it my own way. I don't need a coach. And 6 months, I struggled. 6 months, I kept getting worse and worse and worse. And meanwhile, I joined this amazing community that we're both a part of. And I'm seeing everyone else have success. And I'm like, this is so freaking not fair. Why can't it be me? And so I'll never forget the day. The end of October 2017, I was on the couch. We had moved in with my in-laws and we had an upstairs loft. I was up till 3 or 4 in the morning that night crying because I was so desperate for the hope that I saw in the community. So much so I woke up my husband by accident. He comes up and he gets down on his knees in front of me, takes my hands, me ugly crying and everything. And he says, Marcie, I hate seeing you like this. And I don't want this life for you. Do you want this life for you? And I'm like, no. And I was like, he said, why not? Because it's not fair. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to our children who are watching this all go down. This is the legacy I'm leaving for them. It's the same one my dad left for me. And I hate it. That was the night I said yes. So the next day I called my coach up. I was like, girl, I'm in. But I'm going to tell you something right up from the get-go. I'm going to preface it real quick. I'm not doing this for you. And I'm not doing this because I truly believe it. I'm doing it because I promised my husband I would try one last thing before I terminate myself.
Oh no. That girl. Thank God you didn't. Thank God you didn't. Because
I am so thankful.
I know you.
I am
And
so thankful. I just gave it 1 month.
Oh my gosh,
Girl.
you would have robbed me of the experience of knowing you. How unfair. I'm so glad you didn't. Okay, so fast forward from that point until now. Obviously, you've lost a little bit of weight. How much have you lost?
A little bit over 140 pounds.
Oh, 140 pounds. Just like half my whole entire body went away.
Yeah, the whole person.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And in that process, you were able to put your diabetes in remission. You no longer take medication for diabetes. What else did you gain?
Well, honestly, the reason I decided to start the journey wasn't because of the whole, it wasn't because of weight loss. I knew I needed to lose weight, but I was like, that is on the back burner. Like, that is the least important thing in my life right now. What I was truly seeking was the freedom from the mental illness.
And did you get that?
Girl, it's been like taking prison chains off your brain and like sunshine. It was that whole like I remember like the second weekend of my journey, or maybe it was even the first week. I can't remember because it was such a fleeting moment. But I remember waking up one morning in the first month, and I was like, there's actually color in this room. Because that's how brain fogged I was. Like, I couldn't really see very well.
Wow.
And I'm like,
wow,
there is seriously color. Wait, I can actually focus because my vision is really poor, as you can imagine. I was like, I can actually see multiple things at once. And I was like, well, let me try something. So now in my past life, I had called my husband in to help me out of bed every single morning. I couldn't do it physically. I was in too much pain. I wonder. I walked myself to the bathroom that day.
Oh my gosh.
And that was incredible. And so, he's coming down there because he heard me. So he comes down there and he's like, Marcie, where are you? In the bathroom. He's like,
what?
How did you do that? That's how normal that became.
Oh my gosh.
That was my life.
You guys, from hopeless to filled with hope, from almost suicidal to free of those mental chains, from 140 pounds heavier to losing 140 pounds. And what, 2 years? It's been 2 years, 2017?
Yeah. I just celebrated 2 years in
just over 2 years. Yeah. And on her post, I shared her post on my wall. It says, things that no longer hold me captive. Type 2 diabetes, chronic pain, chronic arthritis, chronic depression, complex PTSD, panic attacks, fear of the future, fear of missing out, and over 140 pounds. You guys, do you think that she found a little bit of freedom? A little bit.
Can I share one other thing with you?
Oh yeah,
you guys see this?
I'm so enamored by your story. It's your story. I could listen to your story all day. It's so amazing.
It honestly feels sometimes like I'm in some kind of novel, because how can this be real? But yet here I am.
Yeah.
This dog, Sina, this dog right here has been with me through all the hard stuff. Oh. This dog right here has sometimes been the only thing that came in between me and suicide. I now have the pleasure, the opportunity. I get to work with her outside, running with her. I was told I was supposed to be in a wheelchair. I can run. I've now got another whippet, and I have their puppies, and I'm actually working on handling them as a handler to be in a breed ring to show my dogs, and we're working on lure coursing. Girl, this is my life now.
You have literally gained life. You have gained life. And this is what I say time and time again on my Facebook page. It says, making impossible, I'm possible, because that's truly what this journey does, is it takes people from a state of I shared Gloria's story last week or yesterday, and it was like from pajamas to purpose because she was retired. And she's like, I don't even have a reason to shower or get out of my pajamas. Like I just felt, bleh, right? And
Yeah.
same with you, like from literally suicidal to thriving,
Yep.
thriving in this life. Not just I'm not suicidal anymore, but I am thriving. That's
So, yeah, I
amazing.
mean, thriving without the prescription drugs, girl. I mean, like mental health pills do serious damage to your thoughts.
Yeah.
They do serious damage to your body and your brain. And I was able to release those as well. I don't need them. Do I still suffer with some of those ailments? Of course I do, but they don't control my life anymore. I know now that I can lean into my coach, I can lean into the community. I have healthy habits that we're just strengthening every single day. And whenever I come across those moments, 'cause I'm human after all, I'll be like, just pause. Is this thought going to get me what I really want? And then choose what the next step should be so that I'm leading for my future and acting in my now.
I love that. Now I noticed that your name is Desert Warrior on your screen. Tell me a little bit about that because I'm Mrs. Awesome and I know how that came to exist, but I want to know about you. Tell me,
Yeah.
tell me about Desert Warrior.
Okay. So in our community, we were talking about how we should be writing our own story and creating an avatar name, a superhero name, and I could not think of anything because honestly, I guess the point was I didn't really feel like anything special still. And that kind of woke me up this year because I'm like, wait a second, I still had those thoughts. Um, and so I really got to thinking about it. And I'm one of those type of people, I will take forever to make a decision because I want it to be the right decision. And in the car, driving around town at night, and I'm like, I live in the desert, by the way, and I know you do too.
Mhm.
I'm like, my first name actually translates into warrior like. I've always been a warrior through all my battles.
Yeah,
I
you
live in the
have.
desert. And what does a desert represent? It represents a place of, solitude and hardship and things that overcome those hard things. Cactus thrive in a desert. I'm like, oh my word, I'm a warrior in the desert.
That's
So
amazing.
that's it's very
I love
it's
that. I
very
love
very
that.
metaphoric to my life.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
So now there's one more part of your journey that I absolutely love and I want to share. I've been finding that for a lot of my clients, partnering with me to pay health forward to friends and family is absolutely something that they love doing. Not only does it increase their own accountability in their health journey, but they just find that when they're paying it forward, they have such an increased sense of purpose and passion and satisfaction, and I know that you're paying it forward. So I'm curious, at what point in your health journey did you start paying it forward? And tell me a little bit about that experience.
I I started paying this forward 6 weeks into my journey.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Hold on. Six weeks. You
Yeah.
weren't getting out of bed and you were considering suicide and you were 140 pounds bigger than you are now.
Yeah.
6 weeks into your journey, you started paying it forward.
Yeah. Because I
Wow.
had seen I now by that point I had lost about 15 pounds. I was already that much more mentally clear to the point that everyone around me noticed. And it wasn't so much a weight loss notice. I mean, those who were closest to me, did they really see the change? Not really. Okay. And that's okay. But what they did notice was I was so much happier and I was so much more present. And I was actually, instead of being prison bound to the house, I was making excursions now. I was going shopping. And they're like,
Wow. Marcie's out on
yeah,
the town. Watch out.
I got out. And so those who were kind of noticing were like, what are you doing? What's got you feeling so good lately? I've been working with a coach. And so what I was doing was I kept trying to refer people to my coach because I'm like, oh my goodness, you guys have got to know what this is. This stuff's amazing. But she would keep referring them back to me. She's like, Marcie, they trust you. They know your story. They don't know who I am. We can
Yep.
coach them
Yep.
together. And she knew at the time, I didn't have a job. because of my mental health and physical health, I couldn't find a job. So I wasn't looking, and I needed income. Like, we were not in a good place back then. And so she's like, could you use the income? Yeah. So she's like, well, why not help these people, and you will get paid for your services. And then you get to help them have a better life, just like what you found. And so that's why I did it. Having the money is nice. And this is why I tell people, in fact, I just told someone this last night. I no longer do this for the money. Having money is nice. I'm not going to lie. I get to pay off debt that way. Okay. I get to travel that way. However, it's not my why. My why to coaching is because I want to on-chain someone else.
She's a chain breaker.
Fight for someone else and set them free.
Breaker. Yeah. Chain breaker. Oh my gosh. There are so many. Like, I could just keep asking you questions all day long. Your story is so amazing and so full of wisdom and nuggets and hope. And really, truly, I think that's what a lot of people with chronic disease need. They need hope. They need to hear from somebody, you can, and would you be willing to try? And so for all of you out there that are watching, there are two people here, myself and Marcie, that believe in you, that believe that I can't is not an option, that believe that how can I, or I can't yet, are your new phrases. And we believe in a future where you can be a desert warrior, or you can be a Mrs. Awesome, because you are no longer bound by the chains of I can't. And you are free to write the next chapter of your story. And that is what we do, because we love making the impossible I'm possible and turning I can't into how can I. That is what we do. And so I just want to invite you to reach out. If you are in a state where you just don't think you can, and you've been told by an authority figure that it's not going to get better for you, and go ahead and take the medicine, and this is the life that you're resigned to, call Marcie. She's got stories for you. She is a ray of sunshine and living proof that there is hope, that it can be different for you, and that you can create a future where you are not in pain, not taking medications, and truly loving and being present in the life that you have created. So I hope that Marcie's story has brought you some hope, some inspiration, some motivation. And Marcie, I can't wait to hug you again. I just can't wait. I'm so excited.
It won't be long, girl. I can't. I'm super excited about traveling, and that was the era of freedom I get to enjoy too. I mean, before all this, I couldn't even fit on an airplane, much less I would have never went to the terminal, because I was petrified to be around people. So I love traveling now, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I get to be there just a few hours instead of a few days, and it's been amazing to experience all kinds of new stuff as a result of this journey.
That's beautiful. Losing a whole lot and gaining life in the process. Well, Marcie, I so appreciate your time, and thank you so much for sharing your story. And for all of you out there, just know that there is hope, and you can, and we believe that you can. Take care, you guys.
Awesome. Bye.